Hello everyone and welcome to my General Hospital Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Carly's job offer is derailed by Sasha's kidnapper outburst during the Sidwell meeting. Sasha Gilmore Corbin's scream about the kidnapper interrupted Jen Sidwell's meeting before Carly Spencer offered her a job, according to the General Hospital recap for Friday, February 28th. Ava Jerome went to Sonny Corinthos at Bobby's to talk about Avery Corinthos in an attempt to convince Rick Lansing that the custody dispute was over. Christina Corinthos Davis lost control and repeated how Ava was to blame for her baby's death, because she was seated with Sonny. Sonny yelled at Rick to back off when he stood up for Ava, and eventually pointed out that the child actually belonged to Molly Lansing Davis. Since Molly and Alexis Davis were close by to observe the mayhem, Alexis stepped in before it got out of hand. Cody Bell continued to apologize to Sasha at the Quartermain estate and assured her that everything was fine. Later, Cody spoke with Molly, who was upset about all the commotion involving her parents. Sasha was also having difficulties because Monica Quartermain was bothering her too much about the pregnancy, according to Jason Morgan. Jason provided financial assistance and support, but Sasha was certain that she still wanted to raise this child on her own. Jason and Sonny met in his hotel suite, where they talked about the frame-up of the Cyrus Renault cabin and the potential that someone was just trying to make Jason seem like a reasonable suspect. Sonny referred to Drew Quartermain as a son of a bitch, after learning that he had declined to support Jason's alibi. Concerns about Sidwell working with Drew on this Esplanade project, which endangered Sonny's turf, came up during the conversation. Jason and Sonny argued over whether Sidwell was responsible for the penthouse explosion, but Sonny didn't think it was reasonable for Sidwell to attempt his murder before pursuing legal action to remove him. Sonny finally made a decision he didn't want to make after Jason urged him to find a more permanent place to reside. Olivia Quartermain asked Carly for assistance in removing Sasha from the Quartermains in their office. The proposal of offering Sasha a job and a room at the Metro Court was accepted by Carly. The ex-partners had an uncomfortable ride together after Natalia Ramirez unintentionally boarded the same elevator as Sidwell. Sidwell promised Natalia that he would keep their past marriage a secret from the deception group. Sidwell played hardball and demanded a 5% share in the business when Lucy Coe pulled him away from his meeting with Jordan Ashford at Metro Court to discuss a rare mineral sale. Sidwell had a business conversation with Natalia, Lucy, and Maxie Jones. Sasha freaked out and told the table that Sidwell had abducted her as soon as she and Carly showed up. Carly supported Sasha after she bragged about being locked in a bombed room and held at gunpoint. After Sasha's disclosure, Maxie was hesitant to conduct business with Sidwell, but Natalia pretended that the transaction was essential. Although they couldn't take too long, Sidwell allowed them time to consider his offer, even though Lucy still wanted to proceed. Lucky Spencer, Jonathan Jackson, pressed the doctor to expedite Isaiah Gannon's discharge after he visited him at G. Lucky's near miss and the fact that it wasn't yet his time were discussed. Later, when Christina went to see Lucky, she made it clear that she was okay with Jason killing Cyrus, as long as it didn't impact Danny Morgan. It sounded to Christina that the legal system hadn't failed Lucky the way it had failed her, but Lucky wasn't as eager to go to Cyrus' level. Back with Isaiah, he made some risky predictions since he was upset about Jordan's scheme to harm Sidwell. As the conversation became flirtatious, Isaiah accepted Jordan's decision since she refused to back down. Sasha visited with Carly once again in her office and received an offer to work at the Metro Court. Stay tuned for updates on this possible positive development. According to General Hospital teasers, Sasha will have a route out of the Quartermain chaos if she chooses to accept it. Spinelli's risk, Gio and Dante bond, and Sasha's home invasion. Here are the General Hospital spoilers for Monday, March 3, 2025. Fans can anticipate that Sasha Gilmore Corbin will have to cope with an unwanted intruder in the upcoming episode. Dante Falconeri and Giovanni Gio Palmieri form a bond in the meantime. Damian Spinelli is also encouraged to take a chance by Lulu Spencer. Bonds Giovanni Palmieri. Gio and Dante will have a meeting on Monday, March 3rd. As Gio recounts why he went to the detective, Dante appears confused. According to Gio, the investigator appeared to be the only one who could relate to his perspective. Dante's expression is even more perplexed. The secret of Brooke Lynn Quartermain's adoption. It goes without saying that Dante is unaware that Gio is his son with Brooklyn Quartermain. But may the truth already be known to Gio? The writing team hinted in an interview that the secret of BLQ's adoption might not be that secret after all. Special requests from Sonny Corinthos. According to General Hospital previews for the upcoming episode, Sonny Corinthos speaks with Alexis Davis. Sonny prepares to ask Alexis for a significant favor in a Monday Peak clip. Laura Collins alerting Sonny of Jen Sidwell's impending domain plan may be the reason for this. Things are going to get messy and explosive because of Sidwell's connection to Drew Kane Quartermain. Drew actually puts Curtis Ashford in danger. In a sneak peek, Curtis did appear shaken. "You take something from me, I take something from you," the shady congressman says to Drew. March 3rd, Monday. Additionally, fans may anticipate a heart-to-heart between Spinelli and Lulu. Lulu urges Spinelli to take a chance in a sneak peek. It must not be anything too sinister because Lulu is grinning at Spinelli when she says it. Sasha also had to deal with an unwanted visitor. To be precise, Sasha takes a weapon off the kitchen counter. Sasha threatens the intruder with a police call. Is Sidwell or someone associated with him here? Sidwell dislikes having his evil deeds exposed, and Sasha accomplished exactly that. This might become really dangerous because Sasha is pregnant. Brad Cooper and Lucas Jones converse in another scene. What is the plot that you are most excited to see? Post your ideas in the space provided for comments below. Don't forget to keep watching ABC's soap opera to see what happens next. According to General Hospital spoilers, a surprising figure may end up with Jocelyn Jack's secret. This WSB agent in training could have to remain silent for her if she makes a mistake. Even if Jack Brennan thinks Jocelyn has a lot of potential, she won't suddenly turn into a fantastic super spy. Since Jocelyn is clearly not an expert at carrying out cunning plans, there will inevitably be some mistakes made along the road. Since Jocelyn shot Cyrus and allowed Brennan to hide her identity, she is concealing some very important secrets. Now that she has committed to joining the WSB and is unable to disclose it to anyone, Jocelyn is concealing something else. Jocelyn's WSB secret must eventually come to light. Else it wouldn't be much of a narrative. In light of that, maybe we ought to think about who might find out what Jocelyn is actually up to. Someone may still start piecing together the WSB clues if they hear Jocelyn following Brennan's orders, even if all the Cyrus material remains hidden. Maybe it's time to put a barrier between Gio Palmieri and Emma Drake, who appear to be on the edge of falling in love. What happens if Gio finds out Jocelyn's WSB secret and makes a vow to keep it to himself? That might compel Gio to conceal anything from Emma during the early stages of their romance. Emma can become suspicious if she witnesses Gio and Jocelyn having private discussions and intimate moments together. The fact that Gio genuinely wants Jocelyn instead could make Emma envious and anxious. This might intensify Jocelyn and Emma's conflict, particularly if Emma begins making allegations and initiating confrontations. If Jocelyn develops feelings for Gio while confiding in him, there may even be a chance for a true love triangle. At some time in revenge, may Emma conduct some detective work and reveal Jocelyn's secret? In any event, our forecast suggests that Jocelyn will make some costly blunders, so keep checking back for updates on any significant information Gio may unearth. There will be more surprises in Jocelyn's WSB plot. According to General Hospital spoilers, the most recent General Hospital spoilers are available on soaps.com for the period of Monday, March 3rd, through Friday, March 7th. Ned and Lois, as well as Sonny and Tracy, two of the town's most irritable residents, end up on opposing sides. Someone eventually feels the heat of Carly's rage in the meanwhile. Then she makes a very important choice. Continue reading for all the specifics. Week of March 3rd spoilers for General Hospital. Spoilers for Monday, March 3's episode of General Hospital. Is it about who knows and who doesn't know the truth about their baby when Sasha gives Jason an update? Lulu is hopeful that Spinelli will be able to exploit his unique abilities. The younger man asks the policeman for advice while the rest of us are out here speculating that Dante and Gio will end up becoming father and son. Sidwell tries to make a deal as part of his ongoing efforts to establish himself in Port Charles. Drew and Curtis's relationship is about to grow much more tight. Spoilers for Tuesday, March 4th on General Hospital. What information is Mayor Collins going to give Curtis? Brad's prospects with Lucas could be ruined because of the pressure his aunt is putting on him. What, though, is he going to admit? Gio gains Emma's trust and confidence. When Carly snaps, someone will regret being on her bad side. A threat is being directed towards Portia. Spoilers for Wednesday, March 5th on General Hospital. Brennan and Carly are prepared for a pleasant date. However, it will soon be disrupted. If Lois wishes to hide her identity, she may need to move quickly. Mom and Ava's mentor had a conversation. What guidance is Ava going to give Portia? Lately, Cody has been in a downward spiral. But why does Lulu show up at his house? Anna tells Felicia something. Spoilers for Thursday, March 6th on General Hospital. Tracy and Sunny clearly have different perspectives, which should make for an extremely entertaining confrontation, at least to us, not them. Lulu takes some time to consider her next course of action. Willow will discover that Isaiah is a great friend, just what she needs. For what reason is Elizabeth meeting with Drew? Alexis replies when called to Windmere, even though we don't conceive of her as someone who enjoys being called. Spoilers for Friday, March 7th on General Hospital. Come on down, Brooklyn. Now is your moment to grab the lead. Carly makes a crucial choice. Jordan and Isaiah manage to make time for each other. Emma's concerns regarding her grandmother are likely valid. Can she assist Anna, though? Lois and Ned argue. Sasha's kidnapper outburst derails Sidwell meeting Carly's job offer. The Sidwell Corporation's annual board meeting was supposed to be a routine affair, a carefully orchestrated event where executives would discuss quarterly earnings, strategic initiatives, and future growth opportunities. For Carly, a rising star in the company, it was also the day she was expecting a formal job offer for a coveted senior management position. However, what unfolded was anything but routine. The meeting was derailed in spectacular fashion by an unexpected outburst from Sasha, a mysterious figure with a dark past, whose connection to Carly and the company would soon send shockwaves through the room. The calm before the storm. The Sidwell Corporation's headquarters, a sleek glass and steel tower in the heart of the city, buzzed with activity as employees prepared for the board meeting. Carly, dressed in a sharp navy blue suit, exuded confidence as she reviewed her notes in the executive lounge. She had worked tirelessly for this moment, climbing the corporate ladder with determination and skill. The promotion she was about to receive was not just a career milestone. It was validation of her hard work and ambition. Meanwhile, in a dimly lit corner of the building's parking garage, Sasha paced nervously. Her hands trembled as she clutched a folder filled with documents, evidence of a conspiracy that implicated Sidwell's top executives in illegal activities. Sasha had been living in the shadows for years, ever since she was kidnapped and held captive by a human trafficking ring with ties to the corporation. Her escape had been a miracle, but the trauma had left her scarred, both physically and emotionally. Now she was determined to expose the truth, no matter the cost. The meeting begins. The boardroom was a picture of corporate elegance, with a long mahogany table, plush leather chairs, and a panoramic view of the city skyline. The executives took their seats, exchanging polite small talk as they waited for the meeting to begin. Carly sat near the head of the table, her heart pounding with anticipation. She glanced at her phone, half expecting a text confirming her promotion. The CEO, Richard Sidwell, called the meeting to order. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. We have a lot to cover, so let's get started. He began with a review of the company's financial performance, highlighting record profits and successful acquisitions. Carly listened intently, mentally rehearsing the speech she would deliver when her promotion was announced. Sasha's entrance. Just as Richard was about to move on to the next agenda item, the door to the boardroom burst open. All eyes turned to see Sasha standing in the doorway, her face pale but determined. She was disheveled, her clothes wrinkled and her hair unkempt, but there was a fire in her eyes that commanded attention. "What is the meaning of this?" Richard demanded, his voice tinged with irritation. "Who are you, and how did you get in here?" Sasha ignored him and strode into the room, her gaze fixed on Carly. "You," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "You have no idea what they've done." "What he's done?" Carly stared at her, bewildered. "I'm sorry, do I know you?" Before Sasha could respond, security guards rushed into the room, grabbing her by the arms. "Let me go!" she shouted, struggling against their grip. "You need to hear this. All of you." Richard gestured for the guards to remove her, but Carly held up a hand. "Wait," she said. "Let her speak." The room fell silent as Sasha took a deep breath, her eyes darting from one executive to another. "My name is Sasha," she began. 5 years ago, I was kidnapped by a human trafficking ring. They held me captive for months, torturing me, breaking me, but I escaped. And do you know who was behind it? Sidwell Corporation. A murmur of disbelief rippled through the room. Richard's face turned red with anger. "This is outrageous. How dare you make such baseless accusations?" Sasha reached into her folder and pulled out a stack of documents. "These are bank statements, emails, and contracts that prove Sidwell's involvement in human trafficking. You've been funding this operation for years, using shell companies to cover your tracks. And you," she said, pointing at Richard, "you're the one who gave the orders." Chaos erupts. The room erupted into chaos. Executives shouted over each other, some demanding proof, others calling for Sasha's immediate removal. Carly sat frozen in her seat, her mind racing. She had always admired Richard, seeing him as a mentor and a role model. Could he really be capable of something so heinous? Richard slammed his fist on the table. "Enough! This is nothing but a desperate attempt to tarnish our reputation. Security, take her away." As the guards dragged Sasha out of the room, she locked eyes with Carly. "You have a choice," she said. "You can turn a blind eye and be complicit in their crimes, or you can stand up for what's right. The truth will come out one way or another." Carly's dilemma. The meeting was adjourned, leaving Carly in a state of shock. She retreated to her office, her mind swirling with questions. Was Sasha telling the truth? And if so, what did that mean for her future at Sidwell? She had worked so hard to get where she was, but could she really accept a promotion knowing what she now suspected? As she sat at her desk, her phone buzzed with a text from Richard. "My office. Now." Carly took a deep breath and made her way to the CEO's suite. Richard was standing by the window, his back to her when she entered. "Close the door," he said without turning around. She did as she was told, her heart pounding. "Richard, Do you believe her?" he interrupted, his voice cold and measured. Carly hesitated. "I don't know what to believe. But if there's even a chance that what she said is true." Richard turned to face her, his expression unreadable. "Carly, you're one of our brightest stars. You have a brilliant future ahead of you. Don't throw it away over some wild conspiracy theory." "But the evidence can be fabricated," he said sharply. "Sasha is clearly unstable. She's trying to destroy this company, and I won't let her succeed. I need you to trust me on this." Carly looked into his eyes, searching for any sign of guilt or deception. But Richard was a master of control, his face a mask of calm authority. "What do you want me to do?" she asked. "I want you to focus on your job," he said. "Your promotion is still on the table, but only if you can put this nonsense behind you. Can I count on you, Carly?" She nodded slowly, though her stomach churned with unease. "Yes, Richard. You can count on me." The aftermath. As the days passed, Carly tried to push Sasha's accusations to the back of her mind. She accepted the promotion, telling herself that she had worked too hard to let anything stand in her way. But the doubts lingered, gnawing at her conscience. Meanwhile, Sasha's outburst had sparked a media frenzy. News outlets picked up the story, and Sidwell's stock price began to plummet. Investigations were launched, and the company's darkest secrets started to come to light. Carly found herself caught in the middle, torn between her loyalty to the company and her growing suspicion that Sasha had been telling the truth. Sasha's home invasion, Gio and Dante bond, Spinelli's risk. The rain poured relentlessly, drumming against the windows of Sasha's modest suburban home. The storm outside mirrored the turmoil brewing within her heart. Sasha had always been a woman of resilience, but the recent events in her life had left her feeling vulnerable. Her husband, Gio, had been distant lately, consumed by his work and his growing bond with his best friend, Dante. Meanwhile, Spinelli, her younger brother, had been taking risks that made her fear for his safety. Little did she know, the storm outside was the least of her worries. It was past midnight when Sasha heard the first sound, a faint creak from the back door. At first, she dismissed it as the wind rattling the old hinges. But then came the unmistakable sound of footsteps in the kitchen. Her heart raced as she sat up in bed, clutching the blanket tightly. She reached for her phone on the nightstand, her fingers trembling as she dialed Joe's number. The call went straight to voicemail. "Gio, please pick up," she whispered under her breath, her voice barely audible over the pounding rain. But there was no response. The footsteps grew louder, closer. Sasha's mind raced. She had to think fast. She slid out of bed and grabbed the baseball bat she kept hidden in the closet. Her breath came in shallow gasps as she tiptoed toward the bedroom door, her ears straining to pick up any sound. The intruder was in the hallway now, just outside her door. Suddenly, the door burst open, and a masked figure lunged at her. Sasha swung the bat with all her might, striking the intruder in the shoulder. He grunted in pain but quickly recovered, grabbing the bat and wrenching it from her hands. Sasha screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the storm. The intruder advanced, his eyes gleaming with malice behind the mask. Just as he reached for her, a loud crash echoed from the living room. The intruder froze, his head snapping toward the noise. Sasha seized the opportunity to dart past him, running toward the source of the sound. She skidded to a halt in the living room, her eyes widening in shock. Standing in the doorway, drenched from the rain, was Gio. Beside him was Dante, his face set in a grim determination. In Joe's hand was a gun, its barrel trained on the intruder. "Get away from her," Gio growled, his voice low and dangerous. The intruder hesitated, glancing between Gio and Dante. For a moment it seemed like he might try to fight, but then he turned and bolted toward the back door. Dante moved to chase him, but Gio stopped him with a hand on his arm. "Let him go," Gio said. "We need to make sure Sasha's okay." Sasha collapsed onto the couch, her legs giving out beneath her. Gio rushed to her side, kneeling in front of her and taking her hands in his. "Are you hurt?" he asked, his voice filled with concern. Sasha shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "I'm fine," she choked out. "But what are you doing here? I thought you were at work." Gio exchanged a glance with Dante before answering. "We were on our way back from a job when I got your voicemail. I knew something was wrong, so we came straight here." Sasha looked at Dante, who gave her a reassuring nod. Despite the tension that had been growing between her and Gio lately, she felt a surge of gratitude toward both men. They had saved her life. Gio and Dante's bond. Gio and Dante had been inseparable since childhood. Growing up in the same rough neighborhood, they had relied on each other to survive. Gio was the brains of the operation, always thinking 2 steps ahead, while Dante was the brawn, fearless and fiercely loyal. Together they had built a life for themselves, rising above their circumstances and carving out a place in the world. But lately their bond had been tested. Joe's marriage to Sasha had created a rift between them. Dante felt like he was losing his best friend, and Gio was torn between his loyalty to Dante and his responsibilities as a husband. The tension had been simmering beneath the surface, threatening to boil over. That night, as they drove through the storm to reach Sasha, Gio and Dante had finally confronted the elephant in the room. "You've been distant lately," Dante said, breaking the silence. "Is it because of Sasha?" Gio sighed, his grip tightening on the steering wheel. "It's not just Sasha," he admitted. "It's everything. I feel like I'm being pulled in a million different directions. I don't want to lose you, Dante, but I can't keep living like this." Dante nodded, his expression thoughtful. "I get it, man. I do. But you don't have to choose between us. Sasha's your wife and I respect that. But I'm your brother too. We're family." Gio glanced at Dante, a small smile tugging at the corners of his lips. "You're right. We're family. And I'm not going to let anything come between us." The moment was interrupted by Sasha's voicemail, and the rest of the night had unfolded in a blur. But as they stood in Sasha's living room, the bond between Gio and Dante felt stronger than ever. They had faced danger together and come out on the other side united. Spinelli's risk. Spinelli had always been the wild card in the family. At 22, he was reckless and impulsive, with a penchant for getting into trouble. Sasha had tried to keep him on the straight and narrow, but Spinelli had a mind of his own. Lately, he had been involved in some shady dealings, and Sasha feared it was only a matter of time before he got in over his head. What Sasha didn't know was that Spinelli's latest risk was connected to the home invasion. The intruder who had broken into her house was a low-level thug named Vic, who worked for a local crime boss named Marconi. Spinelli had borrowed money from Marconi to pay off a gambling debt, but when he couldn't come up with the cash, Marconi had sent Vic to send a message. Spinelli had no idea that his actions would put Sasha in danger. When he found out what had happened, he was consumed by guilt. He showed up at Sasha's house the next morning, his face pale and his hands shaking. "Sasha, I'm so sorry," he said, his voice breaking. "I didn't know they would come after you. I never meant for any of this to happen." Sasha stared at him, her heart sinking. "What did you do, Spinelli?" Spinelli hesitated, then told her everything: the debt, the loan, Marconi's threats. Sasha listened in stunned silence, her mind reeling. She wanted to be angry, to scream at him for his stupidity, but all she felt was fear. "You have to get out of this, Spinelli," she said finally. "You can't keep playing with fire. It's not just your life at stake anymore." Spinelli nodded, his eyes filled with regret. "I know. I'll fix this, Sasha. I promise." But fixing it wouldn't be easy. Marconi wasn't the kind of man who forgave debts, and Spinelli was in way over his head. As Sasha watched her brother leave, she couldn't shake the feeling that things were about to get much worse. The aftermath. In the days that followed, Sasha, Gio, Dante, and Spinelli found themselves drawn into a dangerous game of cat and mouse. Marconi's reach extended far beyond the city, and his enforcers were relentless. Gio and Dante used their connections to try to negotiate a truce, but Marconi wasn't interested in talking. Spinelli, desperate to make things right, decided to take matters into his own hands. He hatched a plan to steal from Marconi, hoping to use the money to pay off his debt. It was a risky move, one that could cost him his life, but Spinelli was out of options. Will Jocelyn's secret fall into this character's hands? WSB agent in training slips up? Jocelyn Jacks has always been a strong-willed and determined young woman on General Hospital, but lately, she's been harboring a secret that could change everything. As her involvement in the complex world of espionage deepens, one misstep could land her in hot water. The question remains, will Jocelyn's secret fall into the wrong hands? And if so, who will be the one to uncover it? Jocelyn's WSB aspirations, a dangerous path. For some time now, Jocelyn has been drawn into the world of intelligence and covert operations, following in the footsteps of her stepfather, Jason Morgan, and her close connection to Sonny Corinthos' dangerous empire. While Jocelyn has always been a fighter, her decision to become involved with the WSB, World Security Bureau, has put her on a collision course with danger. Though still in training, she is learning the ropes quickly, but that doesn't mean she's immune to making mistakes. Jocelyn's journey into the WSB has been kept under wraps, with only a few key people aware of her aspirations. However, with secrets come risks, and the young trainee may find herself caught in a web of intrigue far sooner than expected. The slip-up, how Jocelyn's secret might get out. It's no surprise that juggling a double life comes with its share of complications. Jocelyn's latest mission or training exercise may have led her to slip up, leaving breadcrumbs that someone is bound to follow. Whether it was a confidential conversation overheard, a classified document left in the wrong place, or an unusual interaction with a known agent, the smallest mistake could unravel everything she's worked for. With her ties to Dex Heller still uncertain, and her emotional connection to Cameron Weber lingering in the background, Jocelyn is navigating murky waters both professionally and personally. Could her emotions cause her to let something slip? If so, who would be the one to pick up on it? Who might discover Jocelyn's secret? 1. Trina Robinson, best friend turned confidant? Jocelyn and Trina have been best friends for years, and their bond remains strong despite the chaos of Port Charles. Trina, being as perceptive as she is, may start noticing the inconsistencies in Jocelyn's behavior. If Jocelyn is sneaking off, dodging questions, or showing signs of stress, Trina could put the pieces together. Would she confront Jocelyn about it, or would she keep her discovery to herself? 2. Dex Heller, suspicious boyfriend or unwitting leak. Dex has been involved with Jocelyn for some time, but his own connections to Sonny and the underworld make him a wild card. If Jocelyn makes a mistake around him, will he pick up on it? And if so, will he protect her secret, or will he feel the need to intervene? Given his loyalty to Sunny, he could be torn between protecting Jocelyn and his obligations to the mob world. 3. Spencer Cassadine intrigued by the truth? Spencer has always been a curious and strategic thinker, often inserting himself into situations for personal gain, or to help those he cares about. If he stumbles upon evidence of Jocelyn's secret, he may use it as leverage, or perhaps try to shield her from greater danger. His motivations are often layered, and his involvement could turn this into an even more complicated affair. 4. Esme Prince, the ultimate opportunist. Esme is no stranger to deception and manipulation. If she discovers Jocelyn's involvement with the WSB, she could use it to her advantage. Whether it's blackmail, turning Jocelyn's allies against her, or feeding the information to an even more dangerous enemy, Esme knowing the truth could spell disaster. 5. Carly Corinthos, mother knows best? Carly has a way of finding out the truth, especially when it comes to protecting her children. If she senses something is off with Jocelyn, she won't stop until she gets answers. While her instinct will be to protect her daughter, she may not approve of Jocelyn's involvement with the WSB. Carly's reaction could either push Jocelyn further into secrecy, or lead to a confrontation that changes everything. The fallout. What happens if the secret gets out? If Jocelyn's secret is exposed, the consequences could be dire. The WSB is not an organization that tolerates leaks, and if Jocelyn is found to be careless, she could face serious repercussions. Not only would her own safety be in jeopardy, but those she cares about could also become targets. A breach in secrecy could lead to WSB disciplinary action. If Jocelyn's slip-up is discovered internally, she could be removed from training or placed in a dangerous situation to prove herself. Sunny Corinthos' involvement. If Sunny finds out, he may try to pull Jocelyn out before she gets too deep, creating tension between them. New enemies emerging. If a rival organization or criminal element gets wind of Jocelyn's role, she could become a target, drawing more danger into her life. Personal relationship strain. Trust could be broken between Jocelyn and her loved ones, especially if she kept them in the dark for too long. Will Jocelyn manage to keep her secret? Jocelyn has always been resourceful, but she's stepping into a world where one wrong move can change everything. If she can find a way to recover from her slip-up before it spirals out of control, she might be able to maintain her position. However, secrets have a way of surfacing in Port Charles, and sooner or later, someone will uncover the truth. Who will it be? And what will happen when they do? Stay tuned to General Hospital to see how Jocelyn navigates this high-stakes situation.